Welcome to the show, everybody. This is the Farce Joe presented by MyBookie. MyBookie.ag, and it is wonderful to have you along for the ride. So I'm away for the weekend, just a family event down in the Baltimore area. Wife's family, lovely event. My mother-in-law turned 80, beautiful surprise party. It was great. And while I'm down there, out of the Philadelphia market amongst, mostly Ravens fans and definitely people that hate the Steelers, I got to say, everyone wanted to compliment the Philadelphia Eagles. Everyone wanted to talk about the Philadelphia. Oh, you guys don't have a lot of concerns. Commanders fans, of course, down that area still, as well. You guys are really doing great. What's it like to be a Philadelphia Eagles guy? That kind of thing. Excuse me. And I said, oh, it's pretty awesome. And they go, what are you concerned about? What are you worried about with this team? I said, well, really, the only thing I'm concerned about with this team is injury. That's the only thing I'm concerned about. Injury. Everything else, I'm not concerned. Injury is the only thing that I'm concerned about. And then as fate would have it, the Eagles have their open practice last night, and Landon Dickerson goes down. It looks like he stepped on somebody's foot. I've seen that replay from Dr. Tom Christ. I don't know. But there's this video of it going down super slow-mo about whether or not he stepped on somebody's foot and turned his ankle, and possibly that saving the account. I don't know. We don't know. We haven't heard anything from the Eagles yet. They haven't released anything from the Eagles. All we know is that he was helped off the field at practice yesterday and then carted back to the locker room at the link. I know that a lot of people could simply jump to Jeff Stoutland as the coach. Whoever he puts in there is going to be fine. I don't want to go to even that yet. There are other people that the Eagles would consider moving to the left guard position. When you think about possibly moving Tyler Steen over, I know Jimmy Kempski wrote something up about that. You could think about Drew Kendall, the rookie coming in who was playing center for you. Also, I think he did move to guard during the preseason game. But when you have a all-pro, Pro Bowl talent like Landon Dickerson, you don't want to lose him. You don't want to go to the backup. You don't want to talk about the contingency plans and all that. So we'll probably hear later today about the severity of Landon Dickerson's injury. But yeah, I am absolutely concerned about that. I look, we could talk about the safety blanket of Jeff Stoutland, and it definitely is comforting in moments like this, but you don't know until you know, especially when you're talking about the potential of Tyler Steen, who we all thought, hey, well, here's your starting right guard. Well, now you're going to be moving him to left. Okay. You talk about the possibility of maybe trusting a rookie in Drew Kendall. You talk about the possibility of trusting some somewhat journeyman with that position, potentially Matt Pryor, Brett Toth. Any of these names making you excited? Any of these? Oh, yeah, they got this. I am trusting in Stout like crazy right now. And I am hoping for the best possible news, which is minor ankle injury. Achilles is fine. He's great. He'll be back at press conferences yelling at people during training camp to say good morning, that kind of thing. That's what I'm hoping for. But of all the things that could concern you about your football team, only really being worried about injury, because it can happen to anybody. It can happen at any level of severity. It can make you miss so much time, so little time. That's the only thing I'm concerned about with this Eagles team. Number one, they stay healthy, they're going to win another Super Bowl. Open practice, other than that, looked pretty awesome. Just pretty much the entire lower bowl looked like it was full of people, which was just awesome. And one of my favorite things about these open practices is looking at new guys as they walk onto the field, and they're like, damn, this is for a practice? This is insane. Jahan Dotson running onto the field yesterday, looking around like, what? That's pretty remarkable. Other than the whole Landon Dickerson thing, it was great. Are we just going to fall back on the idea that Jeff Stoutland's the head coach, the offensive line coach, and this team's going to be fine no matter what? I'm gonna be calling on that quite a bit. And plus, Howie. I don't even want to go to that. I don't even want to go to Howie. I don't even want to get Howie involved yet. All right, so we'll talk about that. Tell me what your cure-alls are, where your feeling is right now on the Landon Dickerson situation. Your Philadelphia Phillies are in first place by 5.5 games now. In the blink of an eye. I watched the whole game Friday night. Saturday night was the party, so I checked in and out of it. Glad to see that the bottom of the lineup guys really helped you out again. And then yesterday, watching the game and then doing the postcast back in the Philly area, back home for that. It's what an incredible series. First off, the Phillies. I was just saying this on Thursday, I think, or Wednesday. And it was about the idea of the Phillies being up 2-0 on the Red Sox, up 2-0 on the Yankees, up 2-0 on the Orioles, and just can't complete the sweep. Like, look, I understand that the most realistic way to look at a good baseball team is, just win series. Stack series wins. You stack series wins, you're going to be great. 100-plus wins, you're going to be amazing. Just stack series wins. But when you haven't swept a team, and you're a really good baseball team, Phillies, you're a really good baseball team, and you haven't swept a team in 2 months, then and you're up 2-0 continuously, then I'd kind of like to see you sweep it, sweep the series. So as fate would have it, after I voiced my somewhat frustration about it on Wednesday, the Phillies go out there and they complete the sweep of the Texas Rangers, and they do so with Zach Wheeler on the hill, only throwing 5 innings, which I'm fine with. Taken out of the game at 83 pitches, which I'm fine with. For 2 reasons. One, the obvious. He just had shoulder soreness. He hadn't been pitching great over his last handful of starts. It's late in the season. And the other thing is I trust the bullpen now, which is weird. Did you hear me say that? I said that out loud into a microphone where people are listening and watching. I said that. And I think we all should start trusting the bullpen. So for Tanner Banks to take over in the 6th inning, great. Matt Strahm hasn't been great. He was great. Orion Kerkering in the 8th, all right. And then John Duran slamming the door shut. Oh, no, what am I saying? He allowed a single. I think the Phillies lost the trade. When they traded for him, I thought, perfection. No hits, no walks. Come on, man. He closes the door on the save for his 20th save of the season. So that's the 2 reasons why I feel like it was fine to take Zach Wheeler out. One is the only one you really need, which is he's just coming back from having to start push back 7-8 days. He hadn't been pitching well. He told you he had shoulder soreness. He said he felt a little off yesterday. His velo, his first pitch was a fastball at 94 miles per hour. And I went, okay. Let's see how this goes. 5 innings, 2 runs, 3 hits, 3 walks. Weird. 7 strikeouts in those 5 innings. The fastest I saw his velo was at 94 miles per hour. We're used to 96, 97, maybe tickling 98. That's what we're used to with Zach Wheeler. But all in all, I'll take 5 innings of 2-run baseball from a pitcher that's just working his way back from not being 100%. And also, yesterday was August 10th. The Phillies, not just with Zach Wheeler, but as we all know by now, lead Major League Baseball in quality starts. So these guys have logged a plenty of innings. You had an opportunity with a day off to push Wheeler back a couple days. You did it. You took advantage of it. He took advantage of it. You still won. He picked up the win. 10 wins now on the season. I'm fine with this. And the extra added bonus of, the bullpen doesn't suck anymore. This is great. And also, you get the double early. So Zach Wheeler gives up 2 runs on the 2-run home run by Peterson. Down and in sinker, I want to say. Or could be wrong. And he just pulled it down the right field line for the 2-run home run. That was that. Then Harper gets you a run back with an RBI double into the right field corner, bringing Trey Turner home from first. Great. And Mundo Sosa ties things up with a solo home run. Great, 403 feet. Nice to see it. Down 0-2 in that count. Got a slider up in the zone a little bit and got it. And then little small ball. Little small ball. Bryson Stott, little bingle up the middle, steals second. Weston Wilson brings him home with a single up the middle as well. Takes a 3-2 lead. You get a little insurance with a sac fly RBI to left field from Brandon Marsh. Feeling pretty good. Phillies take a 4-2 lead. And, of course, the bullpen closes it out and you win the game. Now, the Mets, on the other hand, they got swept by the Brew Crew. They blew a 5-0 lead to the Brew Crew. Edwin Diaz gave up a solo home run, a walk-off home run in the bottom of the ninth inning in Milwaukee to Isaac Collins, and that was that. Mets swept out of Milwaukee. Phillies 5.5 games up, like in the blink of an eye. Harrison Bader, I was talking about that. Was about to mention how different things have been since the trade deadline. Harrison Bader has been a sight for sore eyes. To be able to look at him in center field or left field with Brandon Marsh in left field, to be able to look at the left field position and just go, center field and corner outfield. You feel great about who's out there. I'm starting to think if it's a matter of time before Nick Castellanos sees less time. And that's if they do bring up Justin Crawford. How much would that affect Nick Castellanos' playing time? Now, Nick has another year after this. Yeah, Schwarber was 4, he was 5. Another year after this with the Phillies. So are they already planning for life without him? Because here's one thing for the most part with Nick Castellanos, I got to see what he's been doing over the last couple of weeks in total, because his average is down to about 261, 265. And that's about 10 points lower than you're used to seeing it from Nick Castellanos. I've mentioned many times he's the guy that's always the shoe-in for 275 this month, 275 last month. What's he going to hit next month? Probably 275. It feels like watching him recently, it hasn't been as good. It's down to 261 now overall on the season. And as far as the splits go for him, in the month of August through 31 at-bats, he's hitting 194. The last month, he's hitting 195. Yeah, I think you could upgrade that. I think you could be better. I think Brandon Marsh could play anywhere in the outfield. So if you want to move him around, he can. He's been one of your best. He's been, one of your best, if not your best hitter, him and JT Realmuto. And by the way, Bryson Stott, over the last 2 weeks now, is hitting about 345. Not too bad there for Bryson Stott. Good to see him come out of there. Where it was some, you could really make people forget about 3 terrible months by having a great final 2 months of the regular season. And, a great postseason. You can make a lot of people forget about that. But I do wonder if the Phillies are looking at this with Nick Castellanos being like, all right, he's going to get out of this, or we're going to get him out of this. Meaning, all right, he's going to take a hit when it comes to playing time. He's going to take a hit when it comes to playing time. So I'm very curious to see how the Phillies handle this situation going forward, especially with potentially later this week, not only being joined by David Robertson, who's already joined you from Lehigh Valley. Early next week, Jose Alvarado will join you for the stretch run of the season. But also, potentially, maybe, somehow, magically, Justin Crawford coming up from AAA Lehigh Valley to get his feet wet at the big league position. Big league outfield, I should say. That's what I am very curious to see what the Phillies end up doing with Nick Castellanos. Now, one thing I do try to keep in mind is that is Dave Dombrowski's boy. Like, Dave just adores Nick Castellanos, from what I understand. So he might have a little protection from above for the people upstairs. So that's pretty wild. Bryson Stott, by the way, right now, 355 over the last 2 weeks. He's been a 271 hitter for the last month, which is much better, obviously, than the 202 he hit in June. And in the last week, he's hit 500. In total in August, 421. Yeah, I'll take that as a guy that's hitting the ninth in your order. Here's also another thing. Phillies have him at this real comfortable position of where he's at right now, bottom of the no pressure. Maybe, and I'm not making excuses for the guy. I'm just trying to figure out what the hell went wrong. And one of the theories I've entertained is he's not that good. Going into the month of August, I had just been saying, you got a guy in Bryson Stott who, if you were to train a kid to play baseball, Bryson Stott's one of those guys like, hey, here's how you do it. Great defense at second base, Bryson Stott. Great approach at the plate, Bryson Stott. When he does get on base, stealing bases, oh, man, he's great at that, you know. But production. Do everything he does, but produce. Like, be really good at it. Like, do the next thing, which is have an 8-pitch, 9-pitch at bat, and then get a hit or a walk. That'd be great, too. Excuse me. So looks like he's putting it together now, where he's actually getting that production part of it, which is great. Trey Turner is broken out of his lull as well. Great to see the way he's been hitting the baseball. So the Phillies are looking like they are in absolute fantastic shape right now. And to think 5.5 games all of a sudden, just like that, up on the Mets is a wonderful, wonderful thing. Oh, I beat around the bush with that. So I was talking about the Harrison Bader, a sight for sore eyes, you know. That catch he made yesterday in the 5th inning. First off, the Rangers had made 2 remarkable plays in the field. One by Langford in center field where he almost collided with Garcia. And then later in that same inning, second inning it was. So Langford robs JT Realmuto of a double in the gap with a great sliding catch where he would have collided with Garcia. Fortunately, that didn't go down. They were okay. But then on the last out of that inning, Nick Castellanos, second out of that inning, Nick Castellanos comes up, hits a blooper over first base. Garcia comes charging in. And if you didn't see this, he deflected the ball with his mitt. It went up in the air, off his head, down to the ground. But just before it hit that turf, Garcia swept his hand under it and caught it. And you're watching that going, you're already down 2-0. Maybe today isn't the Phillies' day. If they're making plays like this, maybe today is not the Phillies' day. Also, Garcia had that bloop single in the first inning that fell between Bryson Stott and Harrison Bader. That's Harrison Bader's ball. I understand Bryson Stott wanting to go back on that, but it looked like there was no communication. It looked like nobody was calling that ball. Now, I couldn't tell what Stott was doing, but if you're Harrison Bader, if you're a center fielder, here's another one for the kids. If you're a center fielder, you come in on that ball as hard as possible, and if you see anybody coming in, you call them the hell off. You are the center fielder. You are the general of the outfield. And anybody comes into the outfield, including that second baseman, you call them off. Didn't look like that was happening. But anyway, so in the 5th inning now, Harrison Bader's out there in center field. And Corey Seager steps up to the plate, hits a long fly ball, deep right center field. Bader's going back on it. And I'm watching him, and he's not taking his eyes off this baseball. I know Castellanos ain't getting there. Harrison Bader's drifting over, and I'm watching him in pursuit of the ball. And this doesn't look like any kind effort for the pitcher. You know, this isn't just like, what did Sarge used to call it? False hustle. I'm like, he's got this baseball. He's got this baseball. And I'm watching him time his steps. And I'm like, he's going to catch this baseball. He rises up, reaches over the wall, and robs that home run. That, by the way, would have tied things up at 3. And Zach Wheeler, who is going to be done after this inning at 83 pitches, would not have been in line for his 10th win of the season. A couple of things here. I feel great about the Phillies defensively in the outfield. I feel great about the Phillies bullpen right now and where they're at. I did not expect the trade deadline to be as good to the Phillies as it was. For the last 10 days, Phillies bullpen is second best in Major League Baseball with a 2.18 ERA. Now, this was, I think this was going into yesterday. They are the best in Major League Baseball in WHIP, best in opponent batting average, best in opponent on base percentage. Listen to this, 143 batting average. 189 on base percentage by this bullpen. 22 strikeouts in 20 and 2/3 innings pitched, just 4 walks, 3 for 3 in save opportunities. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty good. So I am absolutely loving what I am seeing from your Philadelphia Phillies right now. They continue this 10-game road trip with a 3-game series against the Reds, and then they go to D.C., take on the Nats for a 4-game set. That's what they got going on right there. It was a fun weekend. It was a real fun weekend. All right. Your Philadelphia Eagles. Before the news of Landon Dickerson going down, and we opened the show with that for those just joining us, it is concerning. I do have faith in Jeff Stoutland, whatever happens, but I really want Landon Dickerson to be here. I don't want to be trying out anybody else. We'll get news later today, I'm sure, on the severity of the injury. Looks like he stepped on somebody's foot during open practice yesterday, walked off the field initially, and then got carted off the field. So we're waiting with bated breath as to when we'll hear, or what we'll hear about Landon Dickerson's injury. Before all that went down, Nick Sirianni addressed the media. Vic Fangio addressed the media as well at practice, not at open practice, but the day before. And there's 2 things that I find really interesting. I understand that one's about a coach and one's about a player. One's about a coordinator and one's about a player. Vic Fangio just knows how to deliver the news of exactly how he's feeling and exactly where a player is standing without him being like over the line or over the top offensive or over the top to the point of, oh, this guy just wants to show you how tough he is. No, he's very real in his answers. And the example I'm going to give you is when he was asked about Jacory and Bennett, because it really is the latest example. I mean, he was pretty real also about Adoree Jackson 2 weeks ago when he was like, well, Adoree just has to figure out if he's got what people think he has. Like, he didn't have it in Carolina, and he went to New York, didn't have it in New York, and now he's here. It's like, damn, man. Talk about how many jobs you're fired from. Damn, son. And then Nick Sirianni gets asked a question, and this isn't even about a player. It's about Kevin Patullo. And I don't know. Like, look, what I have seen from Kevin Patullo as an offensive coordinator is a preseason game with backups. So I can't be like, wow, this guy's a genius. I know I was joking about it on social media during the game, but like, he did great. He did great. I set the bar. I said what I was expecting. I said what I didn't want to see from this offense in the first preseason game, what would make me concerned, and I didn't see any of it. I said last week, if I really had to nitpick, right before the tush push, the 3 plays they ran, like no creativity, no diversity, just Will Shipley, and then the tush push touchdown. I was like, can I get a little fade to Johnny Wilson? Can I get that big target in the end zone? Can I see what that looks like? You know, but no. I guess they just wanted to work out Tyler Steen more at right guard, but whatever. Again, that would be if I had to nitpick something, and even that ended in a touchdown. So what are we even talking about, right? So I felt great. I just want to understand Kevin Patullo more than man. And Nick Sirianni has an opportunity with a ball on a tee to say something nice about Kevin Patullo. Like, give me something here. And you know what he did? He went so Nick Sirianni. He went feelings. He went warm and fuzzies. He didn't go, oh, what Kevin's been doing, it's a little bit different, or what I've noticed from Kevin, or what the players are saying about Kevin. Like, something that would still compliment the guy. I'm not looking to be like, oh, Kevin, well, he sucked at this last year, and now he's pretty good at it. You know, I'm not looking for that. I just, something I could grasp, because I still haven't had an answer to the question of what made Kevin Patullo ready now for this job. Why was he passed over for Brian Johnson? Why was he passed over for Kellen Moore? That I think we know the answer to is Kellen Moore. I mean, one good year of being an offensive coordinator in Philadelphia. Boom, now all of a sudden he's that head coach. Oh, yeah, that's a good year. Super Bowl winning year. Like, I get why they got Kellen Moore. And then why now? Why is this the time? Why is this Kevin Patullo's time? So Nick Sirianni got asked the question yesterday before open practice at the link. He got asked the question, you know, what's been different about Kevin Patullo these last 2 weeks? And here's the way Nick Sirianni answered that question.
Yeah, again, have been able to be around him for a long time. And, you know, OTAs is treated like training camp as well. Like you have less time in the building with the guys during that time. So we're going on, not only the 2 weeks there, but also all the time in the off season. There's not a lot of surprises that are happening with Kevin. I know who he is as a coach. I know that he has a good relationship with the players. He's got a great offensive mind. He can be super energetic and he always wants to be there and always is energetic to be there. But then he has this really calm gene about him as well, which I always appreciate. And so, I think he's doing a great job and look forward to him continuing to grow.
He's really calm and then he's not. Okay. Thanks, Nick. This doesn't help. I imagine Nick Sirianni needs somebody like that because Nick Sirianni is obviously very emotional, as we know. Like, look, what was I looking for? Okay, so he wasn't very specific about anything schematic. He wasn't very specific about anything that Kevin Patullo does throughout the day or anything like that, or throughout practice. He's hot and he's cold. I really like that about somebody. Okay, thanks. What was I looking for? You're taking on a new role. Players have talked about his ability to command a room. I know nobody wants Nick Sirianni in the same room as the offense. Whatever. It happens, okay? And it happened last year with Kellen Moore as well. But I'd love to hear from him about how he does even command the room. A new idea. Something he's brought up. The way he's taken the role by storm. Maybe from him, hey, I heard him say that Kevin Patullo say that this isn't much different for him. It hasn't seemed much different. Like the guy just seems in control, very much ready for the position, worthy of the position, something like that. It's like, well, sometimes he's upset and then sometimes he's not. And I appreciate that. Just look, regardless of what Nick Sirianni says, what speaks louder than anything, and this is something that I was thinking about a lot over the weekend, is we didn't have those moments in the preseason game that would hint at an offensive coordinator being in over his head. I said last week, there was no moment from Tanner McKee where he was looking at the sideline and being like, what was it? What'd you say, huh? You want to do that? Oh, okay. I still can't hear you. What? Like, there was no moments of that. They didn't break the huddle late. The offense looked crisp, and Tanner McKee playing great also aids to that. But there was nothing coaching-wise that looked like it was getting in the way of what the players were trying to do on the field. That is the loudest statement that you could make if you're Kevin Patullo. So when I saw Nick Sirianni was talking, and I heard the question come out about Kevin Patullo, I was like, oh, good, give me something a little bit more in the weeds. What's he doing? And apparently, maybe less is more for him, where he doesn't want to change things drastically. He doesn't want to come out there with, oh, this is how we're going to do things now, my way and all that stuff, or even be a bump in the road, but a smooth, seamless transition, which is what we got. Now, I wonder if you asked Vic Fangio about anybody else. The honest answer, oh, he's hot and he's cold, and I like that. Okay. Well, Vic Fangio got asked a question about a new guy on his side of the football, and that's Jacorian Bennett. Vic Fangio remains a bastion, ladies and gentlemen, of honesty and real talk. Here is the man, Vic Fangio, when asked about new corner Jacorian Bennett.
The new guy, Jacorian Bennett.
We're going to find out here soon. Just throw him into the action and see what he's got.
Do you see anything about him coming in, through the draft process? Did you learn anything?
I don't remember him in the draft process. Watched a little bit of his tape last year with the Raiders. He's got some good speed, got some coverability. We'll see.
Do you expect him to compete for that starting job?
Possibly. I mean, everybody's got the right to compete out here. I think we need to get his feet under him and get our eyes on him and see what happens over the next few weeks.
What made Thomas Booker expendable?
He wasn't expendable. We're going to miss Book. I'm going to miss him personally. But to get something, you got to give something.
In 2023, when Jacorian Bennett was selected in the 4th round, Vic Fangio was the defensive coordinator of the Miami Dolphins. You don't remember a prospect in the draft? Okay. Does he have a chance to compete? I guess. Like, I would have expected Vic Fangio to be like, well, yeah, it's just training camp. Everyone's competing for jobs. I would have expected that to be more of it. But when he even talks about, like, the way he talks about, this is a reference. Do you remember when he was asked about Bryce Huff after Bryce Huff signed a $53 million deal with the Eagles? Do you remember he talked about Bryce Huff like he was an undrafted free agent rookie that the Eagles were just trying out. And then what ended up happening? Bryce Huff, nothing. He had nothing. He was gone. It barely lasted the year here. In training camp, Bryce Huff was even like, oh, this isn't going to work out. I shouldn't be here. I'll stick it out the year, but then I should get the hell out of here. And he got the hell out of here. It's not as Robert Saleh again in San Francisco. But anyway, that's honesty. That's I don't. There's no favoritism. And here's another thing. If even your defensive coordinator, who prides himself on competition, when he's asked about whether or not Ja'Cory Bennett is going to be in the mix to compete, he's like, I don't know. Maybe. I mean, everyone has the right. Everyone has the right to compete. That's like being in an argument with your significant other. Be like, hey, look, you have the right to be upset. Oh, well, thank you. I have the right to be upset. You know? Yeah, obviously, you have the right to compete. That's your job as an athlete in training camp when there's an open competition. Oh, at the position you're playing. So I tell you all this. I tell you all that to tell you this. Yeah, I would love Vic Fangio's honesty in a guy like Nick Sirianni from time to time. And if you had any expectations of Ja'Cory Bennett being a starter, and by the way, this is after Adoree Jackson and Keely Ringo looked like, hold on, what's the technical term? Straight ass in the preseason game. Ja'Cory Bennett still doesn't get of course he's going to compete. That's what I was expecting. Is he going to compete for the starting job? Of course. That's what I was expecting from Vic Fangio. Yes. Are you kidding me? Did you watch the game? I understand it's Jamar Chase, it's T. Higgins, it's Joe Burrow, but come on. And there's a perfect example of that. So off of Ja'Cory Bennett. So another reason I play that for you is I don't expect Ja'Cory Bennett to be competing for that cornerback spot. Hopefully he does. Hey, over the next couple of weeks, maybe he blows Vic Fangio away and he's out there. As long as the best play, we're all fine with it. And the other thing in all this is that Cooper DeJean's going to be your outside corner in base. The few and far between times the Eagles are in base. And whoever's going to be out there at the other cornerback position will have a safety over the top that hopefully you can trust. Justin Simmons in the not-too-distant future, crossing my fingers. That whoever's out there won't be too much out there on an island. The other thing here that Vic Fangio got into a couple of things during his press conference, because I was very curious to see hear his evaluation of Keely Ringo and Adoree Jackson. And it wasn't positive. And he considered who they were playing against, obviously. But there was one thing that he said that I thought was very fair. Like, I don't expect Keely Ringo to shut down Jamar Chase. I don't expect Adoree Jackson to shut down T. Higgins. Like, I don't expect Mac McWilliams to like make a big goal line stand. You know what I mean? I don't expect that. So when he's specifically talking about Adoree Jackson and Keely Ringo, the one play that he went to was that big touchdown catch and run by Jamar Chase on Adoree Jackson where he just spun him in circles. And this is what I thought was fair for anyone that wants to say, oh, Vic Fangio is too harsh or whatever. I thought he played this perfectly, unlike Keely Ringo. He said, Keely Ringo, he's like, I expect Keely Ringo, like I'm okay with him allowing a catch to Jamar Chase. I'm not okay with him not being there to make the tackle. And one of the things he went on to talk about during the preseason game was he was calling a defense that would put those corners on a bit of an island so that they didn't have much help over the top, so that they had to be in, quote, stressful situations. He's like, that's what I like to do in practice, in the preseason. I'm testing somebody. I want to put them in stressful situations because guess what? During the season, they're going to find themselves in stressful situations. I thought that was a very fair critique and criticism of the touchdown by Jamar Chase, where he just had a little comebacker, and Keely Ringo was on ice, man. He was talking about offensive lineman putting a defensive lineman on roller skates. It looked like Keely Ringo was in Oh, it was on figure skates for that one, or roller skates rather. It was not good. It was not good. Another thing that I thought he also had a fair criticism of was the edge rusher position. Uche has taken a step forward before Azeez Ojulari, and he obviously talked about how he likes Jalix Hunt, he likes Nolan Smith, but when it comes to the edge rusher, you want to see some other guys step up and earn that playing time, because if you're going to have somebody like Nolan Smith step up and be what Brandon Graham was last year, well, then you need somebody to come up and be what Nolan Smith was. If you're going to have somebody step up and be what Josh Sweat was, then you're going to need somebody to step up and be what Jalix Hunt was. So like it's got to, you got to replenish the depth, and you need somebody to step up and show that they're worthy of doing that for you. And he made it sound like, and he's right, that you got two guys that just haven't really shown yet that they're willing to step fully into that role. Ojulari is a guy that obviously has talent at the NFL level. It's been a question more so of staying healthy. Uche has had some wildly inconsistent runs in his career. You hope to tap into a lot more of the good than the bad in his time here in Philadelphia for however long that's going to be. But, yeah, you want to see those guys step up at the edge rusher position. I thought Fangio had a very fair assessment of that situation. The other thing that I absolutely loved was obviously the Eagles are going to be going into these practices, these joint practices with the Cleveland Browns coming up here and playing them in the next preseason game on Saturday. One of my favorite things was they asked about Shedeur Sanders, who I watched a lot of that game because aside from being in Baltimore, the people I was around are all Cleveland Browns fans because they're from out that way. But I'm watching Shedeur Sanders. I'm like, oh, this guy sucks. And then he figured it out. Like, good for him. He played a good game. Almost had a really bad pick, but he didn't. But when Vic Fangio was asked about Shedeur Sanders, he's like, yeah, I really don't know much about him. So you might be. Anyway, yeah, I pretty much told you all you need to know about that. And I did leave it in there in that cut there, him talking about Thomas Booker IV. And I even said at the time, my theory was that this says more about the defensive tackle spot than it says about the cornerback spot. And it seemed from what Vic Fangio had to say there that that's exactly the way he's looking at this. Like, Thomas Booker wasn't expendable, to quote Vic Fangio. If you need something, you got to give something. And they gave Thomas Booker, but he does feel good about the defensive tackles and how they're coming along. Talked about Ty Robinson quite a bit. And I did go back. I know on Friday morning, they'll have the percentages, the snap percentages, the snap count available the day after the game, but I guess preseason is a little murky with everyone active for the game. But Drew Kendall was at guard or center, 78% of the snaps offensively, so good for Drew Kendall. Matt Pryor was on the O-line, 58% of the 58% of the snaps. Same amount of snaps as Tanner McKee, by the way. And then defensively, Ty Robinson and Gabe Hall. Ty Robinson, 77% of the snaps. Hall, 75% of the snaps. It's a one snap difference. 50 for Robinson, 49 for Hall. Smile Mondin, 36 snaps. That's 55%. Jeremiah Trotter Jr. was at 48%. And what's Andre Sam? Is that his name? The safety? I was actually impressed by him. I didn't talk about him enough the other day. And Sidney Brown played 43% of the snaps. So that's where you were defensively. But I like that snap count for Hall and Robinson. That was really good to see. I like that a lot. So I'm seeing if there's anything now coming out early, as yes, we are live. Seeing anything that's come out early regarding Landon Dickerson. And so far, no. Checking Shefty specifically. The last thing he has out there is Tim McManus' story from ESPN.com. Hey, let me tell you about the Game Time app. Download the Game Time, create an account, use promo code Farzy, and get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. Want to go to the game, the concert, the comedy show? Download the Game Time app, create an account, use promo code Farzy, get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. How about PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs? That's phlsportsnation.com. Sean Kilrain, good morning. Eagles fan, what's going on, man? Injury scares me. Hell yeah, me too. Fuji, good morning. Sean Kilrain, hello again. The only team since 2001 with 15-plus sacks. Is that what that is? Go Birds. 5 interceptions. There you go. Not bad. Farzy can't bench the bar. What's up, Farzy? What's your concern level on Zach Wheeler? Right now, not high. I'll let you know after his next start. 94 miles per hour. Concerning. Could be dead arm. But if he's still popping the mid at 94 miles per hour with a dead arm and striking out 7. And by the way, his splitter looked the best it had all season yesterday. So he was relying on that. I like to see that. Mullet Alvarado. You have a good one, bud. Back to school for you. Good luck. Buddy Christ, hello. I think Dickerson will be just fine. Sucks to see our O-line guy go down. Give my man some Uncrustables. There you go. T. Shrove, what's up, brother? Finally looked more complete. All right. Oh, the bullpen, yeah. Joan Duran, killing it. Far as they're right with the rest of the Major League Baseball, another false narrative they can't sweep. Oh, yeah, well, it's just because it's been 2 months since they swept anybody. I'd be curious to see this, Sean Kilrain, when the last sweep was for these guys. That's when I'd be curious. Okay, Riley, please, Dickerson, be okay. Wait, Sean Kilrain. Weston Wilson has a higher OPS than Francisco Lindor? Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you. I see Crawford coming up August 15th, as I'm with you there as well. EC, I don't understand. Sorry. All right. There's no word yet on Landon Dickerson at this moment. Pin 79, hello. Hopefully Landon will be okay. Yeah, I'm seeing all the good vibes being sent to Landon Dickerson as they should. What's up, cousin? Thomas Farzetta. The cornerback's been living rent-free in my head. I get that Ringo got cooked by Chase, but everyone else, but he practices against A.J. Brown. By the way, I highly recommend going on the Eagles site and watching. It's incredible. Watching the video of Keely Ringo. Quenyon Mitchell and A.J. Brown. It's like 6 minutes long. It's a lot of fun. Go and check that out. Appreciate everybody in the chat. You guys are great. Slagger, what's up? 8:15 call up for Crawford is about business. Gives Phillies control for another year, right? Yeah, and also his rookie year would then be next year. Thanks to everybody in the chat. You guys are great as per usual. Hey, catch me on Fox 29 coming up at 7:45 today. Also, catch me on Locked On 76ers coming up at 10 o'clock today live with Keith Pompey and me. And also catch me on Phillies Postcast on the Locked On Phillies YouTube channel. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is The Farzy Show. Like and subscribe. See you guys later. Bye.